The fishing village of Oguta Wharf sits where the river gives up fighting and quietly surrenders to the sea. The water there is brown and old, the kind of old that swallows boats and memories with equal patience. The elders say it has two moods. It blesses you with fish, or it swallows you whole. There is no in-between. Every house has a story about the water. Old women pour libation at the riverbank before dawn, not always out of belief, but because their mothers did, and their mothers' mothers did. And who are they to stop now? Into this world steps Daniel Obi, 23, skinny as a river reed, with a second-hand Bible and a faith so fresh it still has the wrapping paper on it. He is a second-year student at Living Word Bible Institute in Port Harcourt, completing his 3-month ministry assignment in his hometown. On the night of the March full moon, the night elders call Onwa Miri, the moon of water, Daniel finds a woman half buried in wet sand. Trembling, weeping, with gold-green eyes and, where her legs should be, scales that shift between blue and silver like the inside of a dream. He stands there 11 full seconds. Every warning his grandmother ever gave him screams from inside. Every childhood story about Mami Wata, about never touching what the river puts on the sand, all of it fires at once. Then she looks up at him. Her eyes are not evil, they are only exhausted and ancient and afraid. Daniel reaches out his hand. That is where everything begins to fall apart. Welcome to Iva Stories, the home of Africa's best folktales and real stories. Like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The boy who wanted to be more than his father. Daniel grew up watching his father, Ezinwa Obi, make the same journey every day, out of bed, down to the waterfront, into the nearest palm wine bar by noon. Ezinwa was not a bad man. He was a disappointed one, a fisherman whose nets came up empty too many seasons, who stopped believing the river owed him anything, and then stopped believing much at all. He drowned on a Tuesday. Nobody was certain if it was an accident. Daniel was 14. His mother, Blessing Obi, is 51, with cracked hands and uncrushed eyes. She spent 9 years saving money in a rusted Milo tin to send Daniel to Bible college, not purely for religion, but because she wanted the village to say Pastor Daniel, and for that title to be a wall between her son and everything that crushed his father. His best friend, and Remy Coker, watched Daniel leave with jealousy hiding behind a smile. Remy was clever, genuinely, dangerously clever, but cleverness without opportunity is just a sharpened knife with nowhere to cut. He repairs motorcycle engines. He dreams of Enugu. He resents Daniel quietly, in the way only people who love you can. Village Elder Chief Okafor Nwosu, 72, red cap always precise, eagle feather always present, was the only one who objected when the church assigned Daniel here. Chief Okafor, send a boy who knows nothing about these waters and you'll be sending someone else to collect his bones from the riverbank. Nobody listened. What the water brought in Daniel finds her 40 yards from the shoreline, long locks splayed like dark seaweed. Upper body of a young woman, dark-skinned and shaking, from the hips downward, a tail. An iridescent blue-green, split at the fin, bleeding something that catches the moonlight like liquid glass. He kneels, takes her hand. It is warm. That surprises him most. He expected cold and otherness, but her grip is strong and she is shaking the way people shake when they have been afraid for a very long time. He covers her with his jacket, runs back to the village, tells his ministry supervisor, the round and perpetually sweating Pastor Ezekiel Duru, that he found an injured woman. He omits the tale. A lie by omission feels, in this moment, like the most practical form of mercy. By dawn, sharp-eyed fish seller Mama Chidinma has found the shimmer on the sand, iridescent residue drying in the morning heat, trailing toward the village path. She touches it, straightens, looks in the direction the trail leads, then sells her fish and talks while she works. By 9 a.m., 12 women know. By noon, the shimmer has become a mermaid, and the mermaid has Daniel Obi's name attached to it. A god or a demon? The village divides, the village splits cleanly. The church camp plants a wooden cross on the beach path. The traditional camp places river stones at the water's edge. Both claim jurisdiction over the same stretch of sand. Old herbalist Mama Titi, 81, white hair in 2 plaited ropes, eyes that have seen several lifetimes, sits above both camps and watches the preparations with the patience of someone who knows how the story ends. Mama Titi, whoever shelters a water spirit between worlds, becomes linked to her condition, half in, half out, and a threshold cannot stay a threshold forever. Meanwhile, the creature, Ifeora, as Daniel will soon learn her name, begins to heal in ways that make no medical sense. And on the fourth night, she finally speaks. Ifeora, you should not have touched me. Daniel, you were injured and alone. I'm not apologizing for that. Ifeora, I am not asking for an apology. I am telling you a fact. How long has it been since you slept? He has no answer. She already knows. The things she carries. Ifeora's story comes out in pieces, the way terrible things always do, slowly, testing the listener at each stage before giving more. 80 years ago, the village was dying. 3 seasons of failed fishing. Elders met at night and made the kind of decision that is never written down, never spoken of in daylight. A child sacrifice, the older kind. A girl named Ifeora, 8 years old. A daughter of a poor fisherman with no powerful uncle, no Ozo title to shield her family. Chosen because she had no political protection. She was taken to the water on a Thursday night during the new moon. The elder who performed the ritual, who gave a living child to the river, was a man named Chizoba Nwosu, the grandfather of Chief Okafor. The river did not kill Ifeora, it changed her, pulled her into its depths and rebuilt her over years she cannot fully account for. She has lived between worlds ever since, watching the village from below. The same family still holding power, the same silence still holding the secret. Daniel, do you want revenge? She considers it genuinely. Ifeora, I want my name remembered. Revenge requires energy I no longer have. A memory only requires a witness. Daniel, then I'll be your witness. The second moment he says something he cannot take back. The price of mercy. The changes in Daniel are now visible. He wakes at 3 a.m. with the sensation of water in his lungs. His hands are always damp. He is thinner, not ill thin, but river thin, as if something is moving out of him, steadily into somewhere else. From Port Harcourt arrives Dr. Reverend Caleb Ease, Daniel's academic mentor. Tall, ambitious, carrying a leather notebook, he values more than most relationships. He did not come to help. He came because a documented encounter with a water spirit would be the most significant theological fieldwork in Nigerian Christianity in 20 years. He experiences everything as data. His assistant, Sandra Bright, 26, quiet, raised in Warri, where her grandmother kept a shrine to the water between a Bible and a rosary, experiences everything differently. Sandra. She has been alone for 80 years and everyone around her is treating her like a problem to be solved. Caleb, academically speaking, a magnificent problem. Sandra says nothing else, but she remembers everything. Meanwhile, Chief Okafor sends his son, Kenneth Nwosu, to the mechanic shed with an envelope. Naira enough for a bus ticket to Lagos, 3 months' rent, a new life. All Remy has to do is help discredit Daniel. Remove the witness. Let the story fall. Remy holds the envelope, thinks about Daniel's duffel bag and a future that should have been his too. He puts the money in his back pocket, tells himself it is business. Stops thinking about it after 4 hours because the thinking becomes too heavy to carry. When the river comes for what is hers. The second full moon arrives, the confrontation comes together the way things always do in small places. Someone talks who should not have, and that talk moves faster than the people it concerns. 40 people converge on the beach at midnight, torches, Bibles, raffia offering bags. Chief Okafor walks through the middle, jaw set. Mama Titi is already there, sitting on a rock, having been there an hour. Daniel is there too, and Ifeora beside him, trailing light from her scales across the moonlit sand. The crowd stops. 70 years of rumor meets its origin. The silence is the sound of that meeting. Chief Okafor, she must return to the water. What the river gives, the river takes back. Daniel, she was not given, Chief. She was thrown by your grandfather, as a child, without her consent, and tonight you are going to acknowledge that. 50 people go very still. Mama Titi, the water always finds a way to say what the land has been hiding. Then Blessing Obi steps forward from the crowd. Nobody expected this. She walks to the front in her house clothes with the calm of a woman who has been waiting for a specific moment and just realized it has arrived. Blessing. Before this crowd decides what happens to her, who gave a child to this river? And is there one person here, torchlight in hand and Bible under arm, prepared to stand before God and say that was right? The beach goes quiet. A wave comes in, goes out. Kenneth Nosu steps forward. Kenneth, Father, we cannot pretend anymore. I am done carrying this. Chief Okafor looks at his son, looks at Ifeora, holds her gaze for the first time in 60 years of knowing what his grandfather did. Something leaves him, something he has gripped with both hands for decades, and the going of it makes him look suddenly and completely old. Chief Okafor. Her name was Ifeora. Not an apology, something older than an apology, the first time in 80 years anyone in authority has said her name. On the sand, Ifeora closes her eyes. The biggest mistake was also the most human thing he ever did before dawn. Ifeora tells Daniel her decision. Ifeora, I am going back. He nods. He knew, he has known since the night she asked only for a witness, that witnessing was always the gift she needed, not rescue. He had been rescuing when he should have been witnessing all along. And Daniel, will you remember what happened here? Ifeora, water remembers everything. That is its oldest property. Daniel, you didn't tell me that the first night. Ifeora, no, but you were standing in it. She pauses at the water's edge, turns back once. Ifeora, you are going to be a good pastor, not because you know scripture, because you know when to put the book down. She enters the water. It receives her the way water receives rain, completely, without argument, as if she was always only ever borrowed from it. The shimmer on the surface lasts 3 seconds. Then the water is just water. In the days after, Chief Okafor opens a formal inquiry into the village's historical practices. Mama Titi holds a public ceremony of naming at the waterfront. Ifeora's name spoken aloud, the village gathered. More people attend than anyone expected. Remy quietly returns the envelope under Kenneth's door at night and eventually buys a bus ticket to Enugu on his own terms. Sandra comes back, not for research, but to record the village's water traditions with Mama Titi before the old woman is gone. Caleb publishes his paper. Sandra's name is in the acknowledgements, she notices, and Blessing Obi, 1 week later, stands at the water's edge before dawn. No ritual, no prayer. Just listening, because her son came home changed in a way that is not damage, changed the way a room changes when someone finally opens a window. The water moves, the sky lightens. She turns and walks back toward the village. Behind her, the river continues. As it always has, it remembers everything.